Hi guys and welcome to my latest video. Now what we have here today are in-ears called Hidizs MS2. I hope this is pronounced Hidizs, I'm not really sure, maybe Hidizs or something like that. Anyway, these are $89 in-ears. They come in this fairly small box, but very interesting case, hard case is provided. It's made of plastic, but it has nice feel to it. Inside you'll find 6 different pairs of ear tips. That's a nice touch. When it comes to build quality, fit and cable, well, let's start with the build materials. And they're actually made of plastic completely. But they do have this really nicely looking finish, kinda glossy and shimmery, underneath this translucent surface. And I kinda like it. My girlfriend, she's in love with these. The moment she saw them, she was like, oh, these are the most beautiful in-ears I've ever seen. That's basically it. They're not particularly slim. They're actually quite chunky, but personally, I didn't have any problems fitting them securely into my ears. I do have quite big ears, to be honest. So I asked my girlfriend to fit them, and she also didn't have any problem, even though they're a little bit chunky looking. So I think ergonomics are good. And the cable is also very nice. It's pretty soft, so it's not microphonic when it's rubbing against your clothes, but it's also not that tangly. Actually, when I put them inside of the pocket, I take them out, they untangle quite easily, which is really nice. I do appreciate the practicality side of the cable, especially because so many in-ears on the market have rubbish cables. So far, I think everything's good. They look pretty, they're built to fit very nicely, cable is nice. And this leads me to tech specs. Now, I won't be talking about technicalities because you can read that anywhere online. You can also visit my website with written review and table with technical specification underneath it. I'll just say that they're pretty decent when it comes to sensitivity, so you can drive them with basically anything, including smartphones. That said, their sound fidelity and detail retrieval is good enough, so I strongly suggest you use a higher quality DAC/amp compared to things that are integrated in our smartphones. I tried them with several DACs and amps, but what I use the most in this review is actually Earman Sparrow. That's actually my favorite mobile DAC that I use on a daily basis. And it was a really decent match. And that leads me to the sound quality. So how do these sound? Well, for $89 they sound pretty great. First thing that I want to tell you is they are slightly U-shaped or V-shaped when it comes to frequency response. So these are like Harman tuning type of in-ears. If that's not your thing, then maybe look for something else. But they have so much qualities that you should definitely stick around and hear about them a little bit more. So first thing, when it comes to bass line, it's a little bit emphasized. There is like healthy oomph in the bass line. So they hit, they have weight, they go deep, sub-bass is pretty strong and present, and the whole bass line is a little bit on the warm side. And that also extends to the mid-bass. That's a little bit warmer and a little bit emphasized. And that's actually great. I wouldn't want it any other way, and I'll explain why a little bit later. After that bass section, we have some sort of, as I said, V-shaped, U-shaped dip in a lower mid-range section. And then we have this peak, this emphasis on the upper mid-range. Now, I didn't actually look at the measurements, I did not measure anything myself, but just going by the ear, I would say around 7 or 8 or 9 kilohertz, there is like a peak happening there. And what this gives to the sound is a lot of presence, a lot of transience, like focus on edges, focus on details and textures. And it creates the sensation of a very detailed and fast sound. And now I'll come back to the bass line. Why I said I wouldn't want it any other way than slightly warm and emphasized. Because when we have this type of tuning, when we have this upper mid-range emphasized, if the bass line is not, what we get is basically analytical sounding in-ear. But in this case, we do have emphasis on the upper region, but we do have emphasis on the lower bass and mid bass. So what we have here is actually a very fun tuning. We have a lot of bass energy, a lot of warmth, length to the mid range. And because of that, vocals sound full, they have full bodiness, they have decent energy and mass. But then that higher mid-range peak is giving that edge and that sparkle that many people really like. The only negative side of that is sometimes it can emphasize sibilance a little bit. It's not bad too much, it doesn't sound sharp, it doesn't sound particularly clawy or too grainy or anything, but sometimes, especially with female vocals, you can notice that letters S, H, things like that are a little bit emphasized. But it never feels overwhelmingly analytical and overwhelmingly spitty because of that nice, warm, emphasized bass. Altogether, that sounds very dynamic and very energetic and fun. It's just fun, engaging sound. Now, when it comes to sound staging, it's pretty decent, as good as any in-ear at this price range. Layering is quite great. There is sufficient amount of empty space between the instruments. They're well separated. When it comes to recordings, atmosphere and air, it's decent. It's probably not class leading, but it's very good. So all in all, this is a really well-rounded in-ear. But that actually leads me to some comparisons to paint the broader picture and decide how good these actually are. So my first comparison was with Moondrop Aria that I reviewed just like a month ago or something like that. Now I forgot how to open this. Okay. And I named these a sub $100 King because I was really pleased with their performance and with their sound. Compared to Hidizs MS2, these have slightly less emphasized bass line. So bass sounds a little bit quicker, a little bit tidier, but because of that, they also have this upper mid-range peak and emphasis. Because of that, they do sound somewhat more analytical and somewhat leaner. These sound more fun, juicier, like they have fuller body of a tone. Now, both are great in-ears. It will basically come to preferences. If you are inclined to slightly leaner, slightly more analytical sounding in-ears, you'll probably prefer Moondrop Aria. If you're inclined to something that's more fun to listen, more full-bodied, you'll probably like MS2 more. Personally, I do like MS2 more, because I'm not a big fan of that upper mid-range emphasis. I like something to balance it out, and that's like elevated bass response. And that actually led me to the next comparison with earphones that are twice the price, NF audio NM2 Plus that I really liked. These are 170, if I remember correctly. At half the price, MS2 actually fared really well. Now, in direct comparison, you do notice that NF audio offers even fuller, juicier vocals, a little bit more energy and a little bit more slam, and also some more air and atmosphere from the recording. Like the high frequency extension of these goes a little bit higher and a little bit longer, revealing more of these atmospheric details. But all in all, the gap in sound fidelity is not that huge at all. And for, as I said, 89, these really sound good. And with that, it's basically time to finish this review. Just like 3 weeks or month ago, I said that Moondrop Aria are a sub $100 king. And today I feel the same way about these Hidizs MS2. Well, what the heck, they're both great. I'll name them kings, both. You just decide for yourself, do you like a little bit extra weight and a little bit extra elevation in the bass line? Or do you like things a little bit leaner? Both are exceptional in-ears. My personal taste, my personal preferences lean towards Hidizs MS2 slightly. And from now on, I have to say these are my current favorites at this price range. And that would be all, guys. Now just quick teaser. Next video that will come out is about SMSL DA9 integrated amplifier. And I hope to release this one in just a few days. Stay tuned for that. But until then, if you like this video, then click that button, share it with your friends, subscribe, maybe consider becoming a patron, and see you next time. Bye.